All right. Hi there, everyone. Welcome in. Thanks for coming. So, we are here today to talk about Landon. So, let's just go around the table, start by making some introductions. So, this is Miss A, the adapted PE teacher. This is Miss C, the ELD teacher. This is Miss R, the general education teacher. This is Miss V, the occupational therapist. This is Dr. Rand, the principal. This is Miss E, the speech language pathologist. This is Miss S, Landon's mom, and I am Miss Larson, the special education teacher. So today we are just going to discuss Landon's strengths and challenges, as well as go over the goals that we have created for him for this upcoming year, as well as his least restrictive environment for him, where he will be receiving these services. So before we get started, Mom, I wanted to give you a copy of this. This is your procedural safeguards. We do this at every meeting. It's standard. It just outlines your rights as a parent. So like if you were to be upset with the school and the services that it is providing to Landon, this tells you the actions you can take. So I'll give this to you and you can keep it or not. And then I'm also just going to pass around this paper so that we can all sign it, just stating that we were here. So let's start off with Mom. What kind of things are you seeing with Landon at home? Okay, yeah, and then Miss R, how is Landon doing in the general education classroom setting? All right, and then this is Landon's first IEP. So we have recently been doing some testing with him to get some baseline data. So let's go around and start with Landon's strengths and each share what we've seen. So let's start with you first, Miss A. Okay, and then Miss V, why don't you go next? All right, and Miss E. Okay, and then let's also now go around and share some challenges that Landon has been facing. So we'll start with you again first. Miss A, how has he been doing in adaptive PE? Okay, and then Miss B, what have you noticed in occupational therapy? All right, and Miss E, how's his speech? All right, and then Mom, do you feel like this is accurate, like you're seeing these things at home as well? Okay, perfect. And then, so based on this data, we have come up with the following goals. So we're just gonna go around and share the goals that we have come up with for Landon for this upcoming school year. So Ms. A, why don't you go first? Okay, and then why don't you share next, Ms. V? And then how about you, Ms. E? Okay, and then as for me, I just want to say that Landon has been such a joy to work with, and the goals that I have come up with, I will be implementing by either pulling him into my room or pushing into his general education classroom. So the first skill that I really want to work on with him is math reasoning and calculation. So my first goal was that by November 2025, Landon will count objects in a group of 1 to 20 with one-to-one correspondence and match to the correct numeral with 90% accuracy and 9 out of 10 trials as measured by work samples and teacher-collected data. My other goal for this skill area is that by November 2025, Landon will identify numbers 0 through 20 with 90% accuracy in 4 out of 5 trials as measured by work samples and teacher-collected data. So right now he can identify 1 through 10, but by the next year I want him to be able to really get down 0 through 20. So the next skill area is reading / phonemic awareness / phonics. So by November 2025, Landon will accurately blend 2 to 3 phonemes into a spoken word. For example, if I gave him the sounds k, at, Landon will be able to state the word cat with 90% accuracy in 4 out of 5 trials as measured by teacher-collected data. My next goal is that given a picture of a familiar object, for example, a truck, Landon will give the correct beginning sound t with 90% accuracy and 9 out of 10 given trials as measured by teacher-collected data. And then, as well as by November 2025, given instruction and practice, Landon will match a given letter to its sound for 21 out of 21 consonant letters and 5 out of 5 short vowels, with 90% accuracy or greater in 9 out of 10 given trials as measured by work samples and teacher-collected data. The next skill that I really want to work with Landon on is written expression. So my first goal for this area is that by November 2025, given a letter sound, Landon will write the correct target letter for 21 out of 21 consonant letters and 5 out of 5 short vowel letters with 90% accuracy and 9 out of 10 trials as measured by writing samples and teacher collected data. As well as by November 2025, given instruction and practice, Landon will copy a 2 to 3 word sentence stem and complete with 1 additional word. Phonetic spelling is accepted, and using correct spacing in between words, beginning capitalization and ending punctuation, giving a visual for choice in 4 to 5 given trials as measured by writing samples and teacher collected data. And then my final skill area that I want to be working on him with is social emotional. So my goal for this is that by November 2025, Landon will join in a peer activity, for example, partner in class, play at recess, or discovery time in 4 to 5 observed opportunities as measured by teacher collected data. So Landon will be receiving 180 minutes per month of speech language therapy in the therapy room. He will be receiving 115 minutes per month of adaptive PE in the general education setting, and he will receive 60 minutes per quarter of occupational therapy in the general education classroom. And we have determined that Landon's least restrictive environment includes spending 18% of his day or 300 minutes a week in my classroom, the LRC special education classroom. And then moving on, we have determined that Landon does not need related services for transportation as he gets dropped off by you, Mom, correct? Okay, and then Landon will not participate in standardized testing until he is in 3rd grade. However, when he does participate in state testing, he will have the following accommodations. He will have individual administration with a familiar adult. He will have the ability to repeat, rephrase, and or model directions for understanding, have an adult do that for him. He will also get extended time. We will be able to break tests into individual tasks with breaks in between subtests. So tests will be read to Landon, except for reading tests, either by human reader or text-to-speech software. We've also determined that Landon does not qualify for ESY as there is no data really showing that Landon has significant skill regression over breaks, but we will continue to monitor his performance before and after winter and spring breaks from school. So how does all of that sound to you, Mom? Good. Okay, good. So if that is all, I just really want to thank you guys for all coming in. And Mom, I will be getting that PWN sent to you in the next couple of days. That's a prior written notice, kind of stating when we will start implementing these services and just like the final draft of his IEP. So thank you. And then throughout this meeting, I would actively listen and address stakeholder needs during this IEP meeting, just by beginning with introductions and expressing gratitude for everyone's participation, really emphasizing that the meeting is a team effort centered on the student's success. Then I would establish norms such as one person speaking at a time and showing respect for all perspectives, just to promote a supportive environment. I would share an agenda at the start of the meeting to ensure transparency and keep the discussion focused. I would actively listen by maintaining an open posture, nodding and leaning in slightly when someone speaks. I would paraphrase and summarize, restating what the speaker has said in my own words to confirm understanding. So like, oh, it sounds like you're concerned about the amount of time allotted for breaks. Is that correct? And then I think it's also important to ask clarifying questions and encourage elaboration by asking like open-ended questions such as, can you tell me more about what strategies you've seen work well at home? I would also address the needs of families and the other stakeholders by one, being solution-oriented and just frame responses in a way that emphasizes collaboration and actionable steps. For example, if extra breaks are helpful at home, we can really explore adding sensory breaks to the IEP. Let's discuss how often and for how long. I would use data and examples by referring to assessment results, progress reports, and specific examples to ground discussions in evidence. I would also balance perspectives, and if disagreements arose, I would acknowledge the validity of the differing views while steering the conversation towards the student's best interests. For example, I understand both the parents' concerns and the teacher's observations, so let's discuss how we can align these to support the student. So thank you.